everybody, it's your boy Gaby, and my lights are still falling down. I have to fix that. Please don't look at the lights falling down. I have to get a ladder. Today we are talking all about the battery killer. I felt like Jay Hayes when I did that. You guys have heard me mention the battery killer in quite a few videos, but this is my own device that I've been developing for the past few months, and it is finally out, and I'm so happy about it. So today I would love to take some time with you and show you the process of what it took to get here and tell you a little bit more about my device. The battery killer is a single 18650 3D printed mechanical mod. Now we have two different versions of the battery killer. One that's technically a mechanical mod and one that's technically a unregulated mod. The mechanical mod version uses hardline copper wiring and the unregulated version uses stranded wire. Honestly, they both perform exactly the same. One just has stranded wire, one just uses hardline copper. The hardline copper is just kind of like a street cred thing. Tested head to head, they perform identical. This particular one I'm using right now is black with rainbow color changing graphics on it. However, we have battery killers available in a bunch of other fun colors, as well as mods that change color with heat. This is our purple to pink flip. Brace yourself for the big light. This is the purple to pink flip. So right now it's this beautiful deep purple, but with the heat from your hand or your atomizer, it changes colors to a fluorescent pink, like what you're probably seeing on screen right now. There's also a really cool red to white flip. So right now this one is red while it's at room temperature, and when you're using it, it turns a beautiful frosty white. And then also on the website, we are doing some hand painted ones that are one of one. There's also a blue to white flip. This one is blue, and then with the heat from your hands and from using it, it turns white. And then there's also some normal versions, which are a little bit more affordable because they don't do anything fancy except for hit hard and vape great. This particular one is our creamsicle colorway. This is orange and white. I really love how this came out. This black one that I'm using right now, this is my own personal black one. That is a stranded wire version. These mods are designed to be super small, super simple, easy to service if anything breaks, and hit hard and last you many, many years. I love these mods so much. Now these are very small, hard-hitting devices. To put it into perspective, here's the Diamond Box from Airbar. It is the same size as the Diamond Box. I've been making mods for over a decade now at this point, but I've never made anything quite like the battery killers. I had to learn a bunch of new skills to be able to manufacture these for you guys. This is different from making Hammond boxes or building enclosures and then, throwing series builds in them and all kinds of like hobbyist DIY stuff. I wanted to make something that can compete in the mainstream. Something that is modern, but yet set in the old world hobbyist side of vaping. Something that a newer vapor can be intrigued by, but something that a long-time, well-seasoned vapor can appreciate. How this came to be actually started with a little bit of a side project that I was working on for fun. I got a Airbar Diamond Box from my friends over at Airbar. Quentin, Elizabeth, and the team over at Airbar sent me a bunch of their Diamond Boxes for review. And the Diamond Box is a mod that I liked quite a bit, and I got thinking about how much I enjoy the size of the Diamond Box. So I took one apart, and I built the world's most sketchy reimagining of the Diamond Box, where I stripped apart the entire enclosure and threw an 18650 sled in there, hardline copper wiring, and a 16mm button. And then I got to thinking, it would be really cool if there was a small form factor, hard-hitting mod that wasn't a squonk mod. The majority of devices that are in this size bracket are all squonk mods. I'm not a squonker. I don't care about squonking. It's not my thing. I don't care about it. I have no problem dripping my juice or putting juice into a tank. However, The size factor of Squonk mods is super appealing to me. I like the Frankenskull mod, which was also a 3D printed mod, and I thought that was fantastic. I also don't like the way that the majority of Squonk mods handle their buttons. Normally it's like a plate that goes up and connects and it creates arcing, and you get a lot of power loss with those. Those little single 18650 Squonk mods just never really hit the way you want them to. So I compiled some designs that were similar to what I wanted to make, and I taught myself how to use CAD. I've always been really excited about 3D printing and CNCing projects, but I have never taken the jump until now. I've done my fair share in engineering in the vape space throughout the year. I've also pitched a lot of designs for devices as well as RDAs and RTAs and things like that to various vape companies. One of the projects that I came up with you may recognize as the phone vapes, the phone disposables that are everywhere right now. That was my original design that I came up with 10 years ago and pitched to a company. But up until a few months ago, I didn't know anything about CAD. I would hand draw all my designs and then just figure out how to make them, either through making them out of wood, metal, or fiberglass. A big goal that I had for the battery killer is to release it without a MOSFET, because I wanted to make this mod relatively serviceable if you ever break anything. The original plan was to use microfuses like what you would find in a motorcycle. However, due to space constraints, that really didn't work very good. I bought a bunch of fusible links, and I was planning on putting them into these mods similar to like what I've done on the octuple 18650 mod and the death box that I released. But the space constraints just don't account for a very functional fusing system that we can fit in there easily. These little guys release a lot of power. Whether it's the stranded wire version or the hardline copper version, they release a lot of power because your electricity does not have a lot of space that it needs to travel to deliver your power. So these hit hard. These hit really hard. Comparable to like a tube mech. You may recognize these 16mm buttons right here. This 16mm button was my go-to button for a really long time for a lot of the other projects that I put out, like the Light Designs Hammond mods, the Death Box, the Octuple mod, and pretty much every other mod that I've released for quite a few years. I like the 16mm buttons because they have a modern look and they're clicky and they work pretty good. However, I swiftly found out that these buttons do not work in the battery killer. To put it into super simple terms without boring you on electrical engineering, the distance that the electricity has to travel is very, very small, which makes this mod hit very hard. And the amp load of that amount of power is too high for these switches to be reliable in the long term. Easy way to solve this problem is with a MOSFET. However, it is not easy. The issue with the MOSFET is it causes voltage drop. Even if you have a very nice MOSFET, a very expensive MOSFET, you still are facing quite a bit of voltage drop because your power has to go from your battery to the MOSFET, which is acting like a gate switch. I'm really trying to simplify this. Here's what a MOSFET does. Hi, I'm electricity. I would love to come into your fancy restaurant. Hello, I'm the bouncer guy whose name is MOSFET. Let me see if we have a table open for you. Hi, I'm your atomizer. Yeah, we got a table open. The wait time's just gonna be like 5 minutes. We gotta wipe the table. Yeah, man, it's gonna be like 5 minutes. You cool to hang out? I went through tons of different MOSFETs. The most flagship MOSFETs that all the big companies are using, to underground MOSFETs that you can only find in the bowels of AliExpress. And none of them were up to my standards. I like that raw power that gets delivered. I don't want an interruption in the power. There are too many products out on the market that just have a YouTuber's name on it or a famous person's name on it, and then you just throw them out into the industry and people buy them because they're like, oh, I like Light Designs. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to release something that was disingenuous. All the clothes that I release on my website, I literally wear every day. The skateboards that I sell on my website, I skate every day. I have a half pipe in my yard and I skate my own boards every day. I listen to my own music because I genuinely like it. I use my own juice all day because I genuinely like my own juice. I only drive cars and motorcycles that I have built myself because everything else isn't up to the way that I like things done. I am the antithesis of the like, nobody does things right, so I'll just do it myself. I'm on this planet one time. I get one go around on this planet. And I don't want to waste it selling you shit that I wouldn't use. So I went back to the drawing board and started thinking about other switches. And then I remembered this mod right here. This is an enclosure that I made many years ago. And it has this old school 12mm switch on it. You may recognize this mod because I did a full rebuild on it about 2 years ago, and I made a whole video on rebuilding this. This switch that's in here is from back when I lived in my mom's basement and would make videos building mods in my mom's basement. So after doing some investigative research, I tracked down the original switches that I used many years ago, and that is what we are using today. So it's able to handle the power that this mod puts out and last for a very long time. I have not burned out a single one of these switches yet. When on the contrary, the 16mm switches that I was so loyal to, I would burn out one of those in about a week. What's cool about these switches too is they're relatively serviceable. If you ever burn out this switch and you have a basic knowledge of soldering, you can pretty easily unsolder the switch and solder in a new one. I don't encourage you to service your own switch, but if you're watching a video about this at like 10 minutes deep into the video, you probably know how to solder. Again, I'm not encouraging you to do that, but in the off chance you ever burn out your switch, there's a little bit of extra room in there for activities. Also, conveniently, there is a new DIY section on my website, lightdesignsllc.com, where you can get components for whatever project you want to build. I think this mod looks super cool. It says battery killer on the back, and it has my logo on the front. I wanted to keep it really simple, but also make a statement with it. My logo is very important to me, and something that I made with you guys on stream many years ago. We worked together on this logo. I have it tattooed on my body. It's on my cars, it's on my motorcycles, it's on every aspect of my life. I recently got asked from a newer viewer what the logo means. The whole premise behind everything I do is lighting up the darkness in whatever way I can. And what I mean by lighting up the darkness is trying my best to create a community of people that can rely on each other and get through difficult times together. That's why it's a light bulb. And that's why the clothing line is called Light Designs Cult, and it's a joke. The cult part is a joke. It's saying that we have a cult-like community because we all rely on each other and work together. I have a group chat on Facebook with a lot of my followers, and I posted a video in there today. I do shots fired videos every morning, and I talk with my fan base every morning, and one of my longtime subscribers was like, hey man, you look a little sad. Are you okay? Like, if you're feeling down, we're always here to talk. And that is what it's all about for me. So placing this logo on my mods, on my everything, is a symbol of that community. Is a symbol of letting people know that you're not alone. We are all dealing with our own things, and everybody has their struggles and their problems that they're facing, but you're not alone in it. That's why it was really important to put the logo on the front of this mod. It's what I live for, and that's my entire purpose in life. It's why it's so important to have things be genuine to how I actually use them, and so important to why I do things the way I do it. I'm so proud of how these came out, and it is so much work to make just one battery killer, but in my heart and in my mind, it's worth it. I truly love making products for you guys. Fuck, I'm getting emotional. This is my life's work. Whether it's the music side of things, the vehicle side of things, the painting, the skateboarding, the vape side, whether it's juice or mods or t-shirts, this is my life's work, and it's my life's artwork, and I'm so grateful to be in the position that I'm in to be able to make these products for you. So with that being said, I am proud to present you the Battery Killer.